Hey, random stranger. I hope you've been doing good. It's slightly a bit too early in the morning for me, but I do have my cup of tea and I'm ready to start the second last volume of what's currently out for Houseki no Kuni, which is volume 10. Ichikawa is still nowhere to be seen, so I'm gonna be soon joining the ranks of those of you who have been waiting for new chapters. I think it's been for a couple of months now. I'm gonna remain unreasonably optimistic and assume it's because she's been consulting with Orange on a Houseki no Kuni anime season 2, but I guess we'll see. For now, we have got quite a bit to get through. The comment section last time really had to do a lot of heavy lifting to help me understand exactly how that last crazy battle went down. So thank you so much for that. I think I do have it clear in my head now. Oh, and by the way, if you're keen to discuss these chapters beyond what's in the YouTube comment section, we now have a Discord server. So yeah, feel free to pop over there and just chill and theorize all things Houseki no Kuni. I guess we'll start this recap from the beginning with this strange thing that's going on between Cairngorm and Aechmea. So, Aechmea gave Cairngorm a crash course in self love and freedom of thought, which on the surface sounded reasonable and kind of like he genuinely cares for them. He wipes the powder off Cairngorm's face and delivered this line about how the real you is beautiful, like the color of our sky. I mean, come on, like that's pretty romantic. Speaking of which, I don't even know if I'm meant to be reading what's going on between Aechmea and Cairngorm as romantic. Instinctively, I'm like, no. And Phos had this throwaway line where they say Cairngorm is busy being touchy-feely with Aechmea, and it's just all a little bit weird. I was trying to be generous though. Like, is this really any different to say what, like, the kind of relationship Antark had with Sensei, which is a very close parental, dependent, and I think quite wholesome relationship? But then Aechmea's special interest in Cairngorm, which is his first interest, by the way, according to Quieter, the Lunarian head designer, and Cairngorm feeling all flattered and blushy and just hanging on to Aechmea's every single word. It just feels different to how Sensei treats his gem kids, to me at least. And a huge reason is because Aechmea is having such a hand in physically and mentally and emotionally shaping Cairngorm's identity, which we'll talk about in depth later. And so there's that element of real manipulation there, which adds an ick factor to any romantic connotations that are there, if any. And I do realize that you could technically say the same about Sensei. He had he sculpted the gems, he had a huge influence on how they developed emotionally, and I can't quite pinpoint why exactly yet, but I do feel there's some difference there in that Sensei didn't have an ultimate agenda for the gems, whereas I think Aechmea does. Suffice to say, I still have some reservations about Aechmea, even though I actually agree with much of what he says about freedom. And, he's a seemingly freedom-loving guy. He eats freedom fries every day. Like, he tells the gems to fight. True freedom is something you have to fight for. And now this with Cairngorm, where he tells them that they should be free to make their own choices. But I feel Aechmea has a tendency to exaggerate the need for a struggle for freedom and oversimplifies things to the detriment of the gems, who for the most part are completely under his influence. For example, I didn't agree with him when he said earlier that Sensei probably only gave the gems freedom to make them more like the humans he was once close to, i.e., Sensei was just being a selfish bastard who wanted human clones he could reminisce over. And maybe Aechmea genuinely believes that, but that doesn't make it gospel truth. As was evident when, Sensei, once the truth was out, was willing to let the gems choose whether or not they wanted to go to the moon. And I feel the life that Sensei gave his kids came from a genuine place of wanting to give them opportunities to develop to their fullest potential, and in as free a way as possible. Also, I don't know how accurate Aechmea was when he told Cairngorm that for as long as they had parts of ghost in their eyes, that nothing they ever do or did will be of their own volition or their own will. To me, that sounds too extreme and doesn't take into account how complicated self-identity is, particularly for a two-layered crystal like Cairngorm and Ghost Quartz. So, I mean, sure, it's likely Cairngorm's submission to Phos was caused by the influence of Ghost's particles and Ghost's remnant devotion to Phos. But back in Volume 5, during the attack of the Lunarians, Ghost had jumped onto the Lunarian cloud without even thinking about it and against their own will, because the gem inside them, i.e. Cairngorm, wanted to see if Lapis was inside and, and wanted to retrieve them or to help them. So Cairngorm was the one, at least according to Ghost, who cared about and listened to Lapis, which makes it weird now that they utterly don't care at all, not even about Lapis, almost as if in this effort to find themselves, they've overcooked it and are actively not acknowledging or even erasing things that were them to begin with. So there were some good points here. So I agree with the points that Barry Mckokonut gave on this, that maybe Cairngorm is consciously rebelling, that they see the want to protect Lapis as strings still being puppeted by Ghost, when in fact they were their own feelings originally, or Cairngorm is pinning all affection towards Lapis on Ghost after learning that they are still an influence over them, and then doing a 180 on Lapis, sort of like forcing your own free will in spite of someone else. Or maybe when Ghost told Phos it was really Cairngorm who wanted to help Lapis, they were lying or confused. We don't really know, which, muddies everything and makes it even more confusing. I think, though, that whatever the real story is, if there is a real one, all of it raises some really interesting questions about identity and how much of who you are is you. Even if you've been significantly influenced by someone else. I mean, like most people, for example, for good or for worse, have been greatly influenced by their parents or whoever it is that raised them. And it's not just psychological, like your brain physically alters in response to the experiences that other people put you through. But just because you've been influenced by someone else, and influenced greatly, doesn't then automatically mean that the choices you made as a result of that influence weren't made by you. Now, here is where I'm going to drop a warning. Like, if you don't want to hear ramblings about identity and the different philosophical theories around how that's constructed, the timestamps are down for you there. They are your friends, and feel free to use them to skip ahead. But if you're still here, we are going to dive into this whole jungle of identity philosophy. Okay, let's do this. So philosophically, the whole who is Cairngorm question is a fascinating prism through which to think about the persistence question. So the persistence question basically asks, what does it take for a past you and a future you to be the same you? Like, how can Cairngorm know if their pre-Aechmea self i.e. who they were immediately after Ghost got stripped away, wasn't actually them. Now, I'll link the Stanford Encyclopedia page on the persistence question because there's a lot to absorb and there's no possible way for me to cover every single possibility, and also I'm not an expert. But I found the categories of the types of answers to the persistence question helpful in thinking about who the true Cairngorm is or was. So the first type of answer to that question of how do I know the past me was the real me are the psychological continuity views, which say that if your future self inherits certain mental features from your present self, for example, the same memories, beliefs, attitudes, preferences, certain modes of thinking, etc., then you can say that the future self is you. So based on that view, the Cairngorm who cared about Phos and the other gems was the real Cairngorm, despite still having parts of Ghost in their eyes. Because if you think about it, Cairngorm and Ghost were born as like a single double-layered gem. They clearly influenced each other in a two-way street style. It wasn't just all Ghost exerting their influence on Cairngorm, it was actually vice versa too. So when Ghost was taken and all that was left of them was in Cairngorm's eyes, that remaining entity arguably was Cairngorm, because all they have ever been since the beginning has been some form of amalgamation of Cairngorm quartz and phantom or ghost quartz. In fact, you could argue that this new Cairngorm, the one with absolutely no phantom quartz in them, is the Cairngorm that's not the Cairngorm. So on the psychological continuity view, they don't share any, at least on the surface, of the beliefs or attitudes that Cairngorm has always had as a double-layered gem. However, they do share the same memories, which complicates things a little bit, but we'll get to that later. Okay, so moving on. The second type of answer to the persistence question are brute physical views, which have nothing to do with psychology. They say that whatever past or future being has your body or is the same biological organism as you is you. And so based on this view, the Cairngorm immediately after Ghost was stripped away, again, was the real Cairngorm. Now you could challenge all that by pointing out that Cairngorm, when speaking to Aechmea, did acknowledge that he was right about them struggling to act differently but being unable to do so, and that struggle of willpower was so exhausting that they wanted to just be completely erased and become another Antark. And so you could argue that the very presence of this gigantic mental struggle within Cairngorm shows that the real them was still being controlled by Ghost, and when Aechmea scraped away all of Ghost, that was the real Cairngorm, which is the view that obviously Aechmea takes. However, this is where I feel the third type of answer to the persistence question, which is narrativism, could knock Aechmea's view back. So narrativism says that our identity persists and is constituted by the stories that we tell about ourselves. The way that we interpret and relate to significant events in our past is critical to understanding and accepting our own identity. To apply that to Cairngorm, say there was a counseling clinic that they could walk into. I know this is Houseki no Kuni and that no such thing will ever exist, but let's just roll along with this as a thought experiment. So say there was a clinic where a highly qualified narrative therapist, which do exist in the real world, I learnt, if they were able to help Cairngorm work through this internal identity crisis by developing constitutive narratives. So helping them deconstruct the complexities and contradictions of being born a double-layered gem, and then helping Cairngorm develop alternative stories that allow them to positively accept those complexities as an intrinsic part of who they are. I feel Cairngorm could have had a shot at making peace with having tiny parts of ghost in them while still preserving a strong sense of self. Like, instead of the narrative, you have always been a prisoner of this other personality and have never had free will, the narrative could be you have always been a beautifully complex amalgamation of two mutually influencing entities, and this is a strength of yours that you can develop and lean into and accept over time. And then maybe the demons in Cairngorm's mind arguing over who's them and who's ghost would be quieted. So obviously I'm not a psychologist or a neurologist, and I'm aware that each category of answer to the persistence question raises another billion contingencies and problems, let alone we're trying to apply these theories to fictional immortal gems. But I guess the main point to take away is that for Aechmea to be so deterministic about who Cairngorm really is, i.e., determining that the real Cairngorm is the one with Ghost completely scraped away, I think that view was oversimplistic, that maybe in freeing the real Cairngorm, he inadvertently scraped away and destroyed the real Cairngorm, if that makes sense. But yeah, so if any of you are into, going down that psychological rabbit hole, I'm sure, there are many like factors we could talk about. Feel free to let me know what you think. And yeah, thank you for listening to that whole ramble. So on the part where Cairngorm gets dragged out of the doorway by some mysterious force and starts cracking all over, there were two theories, both of which I could buy into. So Danny 12 suggested it might have been a hallucination, that maybe it's the inclusions in Cairngorm's eyes making them see ghosts, and that the dragging might be Ghost's inclusion's attempt at self-preservation. So they're trying to make Cairngorm leave, I assume leave, Aechmea's room, while Cairngorm's inclusions fight back. The result is two forces pulling in opposite directions, causing Cairngorm to shatter. And I think that theory faithfully reflects the huge mental pressure that Cairngorm has been holding in this whole time, without any proper therapy. We know that gems crack under intense emotional stress, but the way that the dragging elevates even that, I think, speaks to how Cairngorm/Ghost is the only gem to have had to deal with the unresolved trauma and contradictions of being a double-layered gem. It's kind of sort of similar to how Phos, being the only gem made up of so many different materials, including like a liquidy alloy, also was the only one to experience that material try to pull them apart from the inside out when they experienced any kind of intense emotional trauma. The other popular theory going around that was mentioned by Yohane Tsushima is that the outline of ghosts might just be an illusion that Aechmea made, which is wild, but yeah, I like that theory too. It's an incredibly, if true, it would be an incredibly elaborate illusion, but I definitely wouldn't put it past Aechmea to do that. Like, I sense he's gunning for something here with Cairngorm, that anything to accelerate the process of them believing that only he can offer them true freedom, he will do. So, speaking of cracked gems, Phos is broken again. The scary clown-like Phos is back, except this time they're smiling while saying, "Hey, let's go bust up Tensei. We don't want him getting lonely." Just spouting out all sorts of nonsensical sentences drawn here and there from different past memories, while taking the form of a melting ice floe. Like, it's complete madness. Luckily, though, Padpa is able to snap them out of it, give them the flick. Uh, and Padpa says something interesting too, that if they break Sensei beyond repair, everyone gets turned into sand. So there's that Aechmea threat behind all those kind actions and welcoming words. And Padpa also knows that Yuke probably knows everything that Cinnabar was told by Phos, including how Sensei is a machine and that they're trying to fix him by getting everyone to betray him. And I appreciate very much that there's intelligence on both sides of this fight. It adds a psychological element that raises the stakes of every choice that they make, because whether or not you come out on top will depend on how well you can divine the opposite side's intentions. The one gem that is not into all this fighting is yellow, and I feel pretty bad for them. Like, Phos ignores them, Padpa sweet talks or manipulates them into going along with the plan. And it was interesting that Craig Starbird in the comments tied this reluctance on Yellow's part to not attack Sensei to the effects of Sensei's armor of love. So basically, because Yellow has spent the longest time in proximity to Congo, about 4,000 years compared to Foss's 300 or so years, plus a period of 100 years without that influence due to them recovering from the head transplant, that whatever natural affection for Congo Phos has from the armor is significantly easier to be overcome with hate or distrust compared to the wall of love Yellow faces to do the same as Phos. And that was a great point. And also same for Padpa as well. He was asleep for most of the time that they were on Earth. So I find it fascinating how there really might be something to this armor of love, though I always do wonder if it's just a convenient technical term for a very jaded Lunarian to describe just the natural process of growing to love someone more and more over time. One last thing, interesting thing that Padpa says is the suggestion to basically find a babysitter for Phos in case they go berserk again, which again really shows that in the midst of war, there is no time to stop and smell the flowers or to drop by the local clinic to start addressing your really serious mental issues. There's only time for stopgap solutions. So next, Phos finds Cairngorm at Maison Stranica, and what's striking about Cairngorm in this form is that they're still taking their cues about who they are from someone else. It's just that that someone is now Aechmea. So when Phos asks them, "Who told you that you look better in that color?" Cairngorm just replies with, "Well, who else?" Another funny detail here is how when Cairngorm is struggling to pick an outfit, Aechmea comes along and just triggers them with frills for the purpose of forcing them to make their own decision. And it's funny, it's a great callback to the way that Red Beryl used to torture Cairngorm with frills, but it is also revealing of how manipulative Aechmea can be if he wants to or has to be. There is also that moment Aechmea has with Phos that shows how having the gems on the moon is actually giving the Lunarians hope. And interestingly, it's not just because they're hoping Phos and the others can find a way to fix Sensei, it's that their very presence is revitalizing every field and area of progress, and that this new energy to figure out solutions to new problems may just lead them to an even greater discovery of the ultimate technology that might finally solve their prayer problem. They might even arrive at a solution that doesn't involve Sensei. Which brings us to the final moments before they leave for Earth. So Aechmea sends out some recon units, and they report back that nothing has really changed on Earth except for the fact that all the gems have changed into their winter uniforms. And at first I was like, wait, did they not pick up on any trap setting, any planning the gems are doing? Or was it a false report? Like, did they deliberately set Phos and the rest up by withholding information from them? But then Padpa mentions that this sounds exactly like what Yuke would do. And I was like, okay. So the fact that there's no significant change, that in itself is significant. It seems like Yuke is deliberately making it seem like nothing is different, and Padpa smells something funny there. Again, I do love this psychological warfare, and that Padpa and Yuke are both so switched onto it. And Padpa again displays that heightened awareness of theirs the second that they arrive on Earth, dressed up in their fancy Lunarian garb. And so Padpa knows almost immediately that the other gems are onto them. So here's where we talk about Rutile. Rutile, the one who fired the first shot. And I want to read a comment from Nobot because I really empathized with it. In fact, I had similar thoughts. So they wrote, out of everyone, I'm honestly most disappointed with the way Rutile is behaving. I understand she spent an incredibly long amount of time trying to fix Padpa, but I think she has forgotten that Padpa is a person first and not just a project. I remember finding it weird when I first watched the anime that Rutile didn't seem to care that she couldn't speak with Padpa, but it seems it's because she just wants to complete her puzzle and now is acting like her toy was taken away. Yeah, I mean, Padpa has been Rutile's vanity project for so long, and the way they just kept attacking and attacking even after Yellow was screaming at them, look at them, they're walking, isn't that what you wanted? Shows how the most important thing to Rutile really wasn't actually restoring Padpa, but being the one to save them. To try and be fair to Rutile, I think several things contributed to this crazed first attack. Number one, Padpa was stolen from them with no warning, their entire life's work, their one sole purpose taken away in an instant by a little pipsqueak. And I think that definitely did a number on their sanity. Number two, seeing Padpa in Lunarian clothes coming down on Lunarian transport. It's been a while, I think, since the gems left for the moon, and in that time, it's been assumed by all of the gems left on Earth that they've been betrayed, and the gems who left sided with the Lunarians. So there's that anger that must have festered over time. And then finally, the third point is that seeing Padpa function so well and realizing that it was their sworn enemies who achieved in days or months what Rutile could not in thousands of years. I mean, I think that was the lit match to the tinder, that was the breaking point. Which again, I don't think excuses Rutile for being so blind in their rage, but I think that's just how they broke. The part where Phos finally realizes that it's all a trap, that was comic gold. Like, first they get triggered by some harmless taunting, and then Bort really does spring out from under the stairs like Phos's worst nightmare. Meanwhile, Yellow is trying to stop Padpa and Rutile from fighting, and I wonder if Yellow started to regret leaving in the sudden manner that they did. But I guess also that they didn't really have a choice. They probably thought Sensei would try to stop them or brand them as traitors. I just wonder if they could have left in a more amicable way. On the other hand, they did have a very short time limit of 3 days before the Lunarians came back for them. So I don't really know. I do think, however, that Sensei is partly to blame. Like, it was a snowballing of bad decisions made worse by the serious miscommunications caused by Sensei keeping the truth from them for so long. Anyway, the series of consequential choices just keeps piling up. Like, I'm not 100% sure of Padpa's decision after shattering Rutile to then immediately cut down and shatter several of the other gems and not allow them to talk at all. And Yellow even tells them that they went too far. Like, I'm a bit on the fence about that. I understand that Padpa was just trying to clear the way for Phos to confront Sensei in peace, and that they knew that the gems could be put back together by the Lunarians. So at the same time, I feel the gems from the moon, like Phos, Padpa, and then later Cairngorm, didn't place enough value on just talking and negotiating and clearing up the misunderstandings that have built up. And that was probably the most frustrating aspect of this entire battle that's about to take place. The clash between Phos and Bort exemplifies everything that's not being communicated from one side to the other. So first off, Phos yells at Bort that Sensei is a tool, to which Bort retorts back, well, so what? And I like Bort's attitude. I don't think it should matter. Sensei is still a gem despite being synthetically made, and he clearly has a personality and feelings and affections just like Phos. So I think Phos is dismissing all of that sentience that Sensei has too easily. However, Phos is right in pointing out that the reason why they've been fighting for so long is partly because of Sensei, that something needs to change, or the Lunarians won't ever stop kidnapping and destroying the gems. You know, they won't stop until they make Sensei work again. On the other hand, you know, given what's happening on the moon now and Aechmea's new hope in developing the ultimate new technology that maybe might even allow them to create an artificial human, which would solve their prayer problem, this focus on Sensei as a central problem might become less important. And I feel Phos is currently too blinded by rage and unwilling to countenance the idea that there might be another solution outside of forcing Sensei to pray. So I think, you know, Bort also makes a fair point when they say to Phos, you can't trust anything the Lunarians say. Like, you can probably tell by my flip-flopping that I am sympathetic to both sides. The Lunarians could totally believe that all they have to do is fix Sensei, but Bort is also right in that they either are deceiving Phos, or more likely, given what we know, that what they think will fix a problem isn't actually accurate. Then when Phos breaks Bort's leg and slams him to the ground and says, see, look how badly you're hurt and Sensei still hasn't come to save you. That's all you are to him. I think Phos is referring to Aechmea's reference to their flawed defense system, that it's all about protecting the one at their center, Sensei. And I mean, Phos isn't wrong. Like, that system does tend to result in gems being often broken and periodically taken away to the moon, and Sensei hasn't figured out an alternative to stop that. So this whole back and forth between Phos and Bort, especially when Phos pleads with Bort and is like, I'm doing this for all of you, but Bort just throws it back in their face and says, don't put it on us. You know, it's so frustrating to me because I see good and bad points on both sides, and I'm like, oh man, Phos, can't you just, you know, Bort, can't you just listen to Phos and understand that, you know, all of the gems that left for very different reasons. It wasn't because of betrayal. And then, you know, Phos, you should listen to Bort and sort of understand all of the new developments in the society that they've made, that Sensei actually, you know, gave them the freedom to go to the moon if they so chose, that he's not this big bad dictator that you have in your mind. Like, it's just so many things that aren't getting across. Actually, Rohachisuso wrote in the comments that although it's natural at this point in the story to pick a side, that they find it really hard to come to a definitive conclusion on who is more right or wrong, which I completely agree with. And as for me, I just want to force them into mandatory conferencing and just get them to lay out all their fears and assumptions and miscommunications and just talk it out. But that's never going to happen. So the last section is on the final fight. And thank you to everyone who helped clear things up. I'm going to go off Joseph's great summary of what happened. So they wrote, Cinnabar rushed up to get Phos with Mercury and was then hit by Padpa. However, the Mercury was still going to land on Phos, so Padpa pulled Phos back with the longsword. Cinnabar was wounded but still active, and so concentrated all their Mercury on Padpa instead, who got completely enveloped in the mercury. And that's why you can't see Padpa at the end, who is under the mercury. Phos cries out for Padpa, but then is cut in half by Bort's hair. Yep, so what I loved about this very quick series of events is that Padpa actually sacrificed themselves for Phos. They yoink them out of the way, but ends up being covered in Cinnabar's mercury. I also love that at the end of the whole fight, Bort just gets up, bits of their mercury-covered hair still lying on the ground, and just casually walks away from the scene of carnage. I think they also must have helped Cinnabar get away from there too, I'm assuming. Okay, so, and then what happens after that whole crazy fight is up for interpretation, and I'm not really sure where I stand yet. So Yuke walks up to Phos and says that they need to find a way where no one gets left behind. Like, it's very diplomatic, very conciliatory. And then Phos tells them about being only able to recover gems of hardness of 5 or above. But Yuke just replies that they'll figure out a way, that they need everyone, including Phos, for their future. And the heartbreaking thing about this little chat, which I noticed when I reread it, is that Phos starts to cry. So it really feels like there's some opening here, at least for a proper dialogue between the two opposing sides. And of course, this is all before Cairngorm comes in like big wrecking ball. So a comment I want to pull up from here is from Nuclear Snake, who sort of gave their own version of events, and I think I had a more positive view of what was happening in the moment when Yuke is placating Phos, but my thinking has changed a little bit because of reading this comment. So they wrote, Phos wanted to go down to earth and literally beat some sense into Sensei. Before anything even happened, Rutile fired the first shot. This is true. A springboard trap was already set for Phos, and Euclid's diplomacy reeks of pure manipulation, which I can see now. Meanwhile, the Lunarians are not leaving anything to chance and would rather bash Phos's head in than having them talk with the other gems. Peace was never an option. This is what we call the just talk moment. It's funny because everything you pointed out is right. Like, I had a rethink about what Yuke is going for here. And to be honest, at first, I couldn't find a fault with them. But after reading it again, I was like, yeah, it's a bit strange that Yuke could have at any time pulled Rutile back from attacking. Even if Rutile had attacked out of turn and it wasn't part of the original trap, and Rutile just went crazy of their own accord, which is totally plausible, you could have stepped in or sent in some of the other gems to restrain them and made an overture that they're not here to fight, that they're just here to talk. But they didn't do that. Even the whole setting the board trap, ordering Cinnabar to attack with their mercury, that doesn't read as though they were orders from someone who wanted to open up peace talks from an equal field. And the more I think about it, the more it doesn't sit right. Like, if I had to guess, I think Yuke wanted to negotiate from a position of uncompromising strength. They worked off the assumption that the gems who had left were fully hostile, and so they needed to force them into submission before talking. And so that move of aggression, of course, led to Cairngorm stepping in to scoop up Phos, Padpa, and Yellow, and led to all the Lunarians having to rain down that shower of arrows. And thank you to those of you again who pointed out that it was Phos, Yellow, and Padpa who they actually picked up. I was confused for a second because I saw them scooping up Mercury and assumed that Cinnabar was part of that group. With Cairngorm smashing Phos's head in, again, as with almost everything that's happened in the last few chapters, there's a couple of possible interpretations. It could have just been Cairngorm being super pissed at Phos and not wanting to hear another word from them before heroically rescuing their fellow moon gems. Or it could have been, like Nuclear Snake says, like a direct order from Aechmea, who doesn't benefit from a reconciliation between the Earth gems and the Moon gems. Which brings us finally to volume 10 of Houseki no Kuni. So here we go. Alright guys, I hope you're comfy as we kick off Land of the Lustrous, volume 10 by Haruko Ichikawa, who I genuinely hope is enjoying her PS5. But please do come back. Okay, so the first thing that's really hitting me about this cover is that the colors are a lot less muted than the other volumes. You know, instead of the sharp colors of the gems, it's just pastel. And for once, most of the cover is filled by Lunarians. They're all looking towards something. I see the two versions of Aechmea. Actually, in general, all of the Lunarians are looking very happy and hopeful, which maybe suggests that in this volume they actually do come up with a new technology that allows them to become nothing, maybe. What else? I see how in the sort of in the middle where the Land of the Lustrous title is, it looks like a rack of Lunarian robes or something with the rabbit ear symbol and the heart symbols on them. There's Phos just looking really lost in a sea of Lunarians. That doesn't bode well. And also down the bottom, I don't know who this gem is. At first I thought it was Watermelon or maybe even Goshen, like one of the younger gems. And oh, maybe it's the Admirabilis. Actually, now I'm looking at it, it kind of looks like, I forgot what their name was, Arrogatus or something. Oh, interesting. And just bouquets of flowers and petals everywhere. Basically, it's looking like the Lunarians are having a big party and the gems are nowhere to be found. Oh boy, okay. Haruko Ichikawa. And is that a macaron? It's a very expensive looking macaron. Okay, character introductions. Rutile, a former doctor who has abandoned the lab coat. This is no time for work. That makes me quite sad, actually. For so many volumes, Rutile has been the rock for the gems, fixing them, being a, right old grumpy old dod, but still caring enough for them to stay behind and not go to the moon, because who else is going to fix everyone? And now they're just this crazed, broken shell of a gem. Peridot wears a mask of calm amid a whirlwind of change. Sorry, as soon as I read wears a mask, I was like, COVID safe. But yes, Peridot has always been a very calm type of gem and suffers from being too normal. That's Amethyst 84. No, that's Amethyst 33, because they were the one that was left behind. And Red Beryl, I guess. Sphene. The next one will be a masterpiece. If only there had been more time. What are they? I think I forget again. My memory's failing me, but some kind of crafts that they do. Was it like carpentry? Was that Sphene's area? Jade just wants to help you, Clays. That's Ride and Die right there. Yuke Jade, which I appreciate. Like, I appreciate that they have a very healthy work relationship. Euclase, conscience incarnate, worries about all the others. Okay, I mean, say what you will about Yuke's manipulative ways, which I do see, but they are, again, coming from a place of concern for all the other gems and preserving what they have on Earth and making sure that their little budding democracy is protected. So I guess there's that. Watermelon Tourmaline, enjoying another day. It's good that there are gems who are just going with the flow and are like, despite all this ruckus that's been kicked up by Phos and all of the gems leaving, you know, a day is still a day. You know, the sun comes up, blue skies out, it's still a nice day. Neptunite has unspecified feelings for Benito, or maybe none at all. Oh no, sorry, it was Benito that struggled with being normal, not Peridot, sorry. Also, that's weird, unspecified feelings for Benito. Maybe they're thinking the opposite of Benito, like, oh, I wish I was more normal like Benito. As is often the case with these paired up gems. But is capable of making decisions on what to believe without others' input. Isn't that just a stab to, especially Cairngorm, but also a lot of the other gems too. Morganite, currently studying the older gems, Audacity. Hemimorphite, more or less enjoying another day. Okay, so another chill gem. We like that. Cinnabar, made a friend. It's confirmed now that they're friends. I could not have seen that coming. This burgeoning relationship between Bort and Cinnabar, of all people. Look at the way that they're sort of standing behind Bort, like ready to. It makes sense now that Cinnabar would come to Bort's rescue, seeing them be attacked by Phos. I still remember that look from the last volume when Phos looks back and there's Cinnabar just coming at them with a Mercury, and the shock. Like, maybe part of that was like, oh my gosh, I thought we had a thing going on. Now you're going all out for Bort, and just like, it's not, I know it's not like anything romantic, but just it's an interesting triangle of relationships between Bort, Cinnabar, and Phos. They've come such a long way. Obsidian, who's enjoying another day of marching to a unique beat. It's funny that the 3 gems at the bottom down there just, like, you can't really see their entire faces, and it's because they're just, you know, all of these events are just they're just following orders. You know, if Yuke tells them to taunt Phos, they'll taunt Phos. You know, Goshenite off, who knows where, doing who knows what. Cairngorm, mega ultra super happy. Okay. I mean, I know I had this whole rambling about self-identity and, you know, maybe they lost parts of themselves that actually were them in this whole reconstruction of their body. But it is good to see them happy, I guess, and not be burdened by having to work through all that identity crisis stuff, because it is real hard work. Like, even if you go through therapy, that therapy is intense, and sometimes it's like, I mean, if you're like a gem who could just easily scrape off the parts that are causing you problems, then I can see why you would go with that option, you know. Bonita White, your average ordinary gem. That's right, there's your normie. Alexandrite. Now we'll learn the cause of their 2 personalities. Excellent. I'm looking forward to that. Phospholite. the hero of our story, under a lot of stress, just a bit. Paparazza. Frankly, thinks babysitting Phos is too big a responsibility. I empathize very much with that. I think Padpa just wants to retire, have this whole war done with, and get things, over with just as quick as possible. Yellow Diamond, the eldest, continues to be carried along by events. Yeah, so that's very much Yellow's passive nature and her propensity to be sweet talked or persuaded into doing things that maybe she doesn't really want to do. Diamond likes it on the moon, where there are all kinds of love stories. What? I hope they're not hinting at the potential Cairngorm and Aechmea development there. But yeah, again, Jaya just, according to her nature, very adaptable. Obviously loves all the newfangled tech that you can find up there on the moon. Amethyst, starting to get used to life on the moon. Actually kind of likes it. There's this interesting split now occurring between the gems who left on the moon, who left for various reasons but are now actually starting to get used to life up there. And so I don't know, that just feels like it will only make this divide between them even greater. Okay, I think that's all the gems. Okay, so it looks like we're gonna be going through 5 chapters today. Okay, so failure, savior. I wonder who that could be pointing to. Probably Phos, potentially someone else. Choice, ceremony, wish, admirabilis. Okay, it's nice that we bring back the slug people. Authentication, passage, and 220 years. Which sounds like maybe that's how old Cairngorm is. Don't know. Land of the lavish gowns. Okay. Failure. Oh, is that Jade looking through Cinnabar's normal lookout? They're gone. I see. Is that Sensei hiding in Cinnabar's hood? I am sorry. I am testing my functions to see if I can at least explain to you all the reason I cannot comply with Lunarians' wishes, and the reason I cannot fight against phosphofolite. Okay, so we know why. Actually, no, we don't know why he can't pray for the Lunarians, but do we not suspect that it's because Phos has become too much human, like part human, that Sensei can't rebel against them or do anything against them? So remember when Phos was able to ask Sensei about the humans and he was able to answer? Yeah, I feel like this is more confirmation that that's what's happening to Phos. I'm still trying to tell the truth though. No, that's okay. Don't force yourself. Let's go. So they were keeping Sensei safe. It was all a plan. I mean, sorry, I just have to elaborate on this. So when Bort was telling Phos that, when Phos was saying to Bort that, see, this is all you are to him, you're so hurt and yet he's not coming to save you, that was all part of the plan, and Bort knew that. Like, it was the Gem's plan to keep Sensei safe. Yeah. My attempts to reason with Phos failed, I see. Only because Cairngorm came in at the last second. I'm so sorry, and after everyone followed the plan so perfectly. Including Rutile, Yuke, are you saying that that was part of the plan? Oh man, it's fine. Bored with her. Oh gosh, look at the mercury splotched skin and body. We protected Congo. That's true. And I discovered that Phos does have a weakness. Phos suddenly started talking about hardness. So their weakness is anti. Yellow seemed to be sane. But Padpa was totally bonkers. What was that? It was super scary. And that little Lunarian. Padpa. It's interesting that they see Padpa as being totally bonkers. Which is fair. Like, you know, they were going all out, no negotiation whatsoever, and just shattering gems left, right, and center. I don't know what they're gonna do with that Rutile though. For now, let's all get some rest. Yeah. Look at Yuke still able to smile after all that fiasco. A wise decision. The ancient life forms accelerated their demise because they couldn't choose to rest. Right? Those gems left in a very violent manner. I suspect Phos hasn't won the Lunarians' trust yet. They'll probably give it some time before they come back. Huh. I totally forgot. Sensei, the original doctor. Original sculptor of gems. I guess he's the doctor now. Wow, you're fast. It's like a puzzle. He is a very well-resourced machine after all. I am no longer required to play the role of your leader. Huh? I don't get it. There. Oh, they're all back. Look at Rutile, man. They look like a total degenerate. Just like a punk you just pulled off the street and is maybe a bit high. That's crazy. Bought. The pieces shaved off of your leg were too minute to recover. I would like to use your hair to fill in those gaps. Is that alright? It's covered in poison. Can you still use it? Pieces of it, yes. Then please do. Oh, Cinnabar feeling that guilt for... It wasn't their fault, really. What's that look? Cinnabar is still a bit apprehensive about Sensei. Oh god. No. I mean, I guess we'll get used to it the same way we got used to La Phos, you know, Phos with a different head. But god, that is so pulling such a massive trick over the mind. I'm sorry. Don't worry about it. Bort's so cool. Bort's cool, you know, long haired, short haired, doesn't matter. Your right hand. I covered Padpa in my venom. Phosphorite told me that on the moon they can remove the poison. Do you think Padpa will really be okay? Well, Phos was telling a bit of a goober there, weren't they? If they have the technology to get Padpa moving again, then there is a good chance that they can remove your venom. Are you sure you didn't want to go with Phosphorite? On the moon, they may be able to change your constitution. Stop saying that. Oh, look at his face. What is that emotion? Is that like, oh wow. I can't believe I just got spoken to like that. It's the changing, almost instantaneously changing relationship between the gems and Sensei from leader to silver. I can't speak today. Leader to subordinate and now just equals. They must all still be getting used to it, Sensei included, so we wouldn't have been able to protect Congo from Phos without your venom, Cinnabar. I know for a fact. We're grateful to have you here with us. Yeah. Boy. Look, if you've got affirmation from those three, then you're pretty much, you're good. Of course I helped you. You're my fellow gems. I am sorry. That's not right, Connie. You're supposed to say thank you and smile. Morga. Just right to calling Sensei Connie. Thank you. And he does. He can smile now. Okay. And look at that family. I'm sad. I will never get over the sadness that there's a split between them now. And all because, there are certain elements on both sides who just won't sit down and talk. Oh man. Phos is so messed up. It's been a long day for you. Get some rest. Is it cramped back there? There's space up here. Is that Cairngorm? Checking to see if they're okay. You're Cairngorm, aren't you? I don't like that name. Oh man. Oh, so they're checking in on the Lunarian? I feel like they've taken up the mantle of like high general of the Lunarian army or something. But you're Phos's partner, aren't you? Why would you? I didn't pair up with Phos. Ghost did. I was against it, but I was overruled. I feel like that's wrong too. I don't know why in my memory Ghost back in the day when they requested to partner with Phos was like, the gem inside of me says it's okay too. They like you too. So I don't understand what's happening with Cairngorm, like why they're just throwing away parts that were them. You didn't have to smash Phos's head. Why would you do that just to bring us back? Wait. Oh no, that's yellow. I'm sorry, this is confusing. That's yellow. Phos talks too much. It's annoying. And it made the collection easier. Okay. So they were just pissed. Is that all? That's all. If we'd stayed on Earth any longer, we would have betrayed you. Oh. Padpa knows what's up. You saw how unstable Phos is and you planned this from the beginning. Maybe so. But it's Lapis' head, Ghost's old partner. So was the plan from the beginning. Aechmea and Cairngorm were like, we better make sure that Phos doesn't stuff it up and accidentally make good with the gems on Earth. So if it looks like, they're starting to talk properly, smash their head in. That's awful. Not mine. You gems wouldn't understand this, but it really is easier not having someone else in your eye. What is that appearance of Aechmea's? Why is he looking so buff? The hair. I'm home. Oh god, Cairngorm is just... The more I see of this version of them, the more I just shaking my head. You are not to leave without my permission. But do you have any idea how worried I was? Oh god, he looks like a full-on demon lord. But you can do it. You can do it. You told me to think for myself. And it's hard to send the troops out at dawn too, right? So I thought if I helped with the collection... Oh dear, what am I to do with you? But I'm going on the collection mission, period. It would go faster and make things better for everyone. You're all so busy, but here I am just wearing pretty new clothes every day and waiting for you to come home. I feel bad. You are so precious to me. But it did go faster and no one evaporated. You evaporated us this time, Prince. That's true. You see? You're not damaged? No. The size difference is pretty... I guess it's very similar to the size difference between Sensei and the gems. Come home, I have to look you over. Hey, don't say that in front of people. Why shouldn't I? This is... Oh, God. I feel icky just reading this. Oh, you. Yeah, like, chills. Not the good type. And Phos is just hearing all this. This is so weird. And Yellow and Padpa as well. They're like, can we get some medical attention? Okay. Well, Phos is put back together, but clearly Aechmea's attention. He only has eyes for Cairngorm, and they for Aechmea. So, chapter 71. End of chapter 71. So I guess the major thing that we learned from that chapter is that it was planned from the start that should Phos start to falter and start to listen to what Yuke and the others had to say about, you know, building a future together, maybe getting all the old buddies back, all the gems, and present a united front against the Lunarians, then that's why Cairngorm had to intervene. And it wasn't Aechmea that ordered it, it was Cairngorm acting on their own accord. So, but obviously Aechmea would have, you know, agreed with it. Alright, chapter 72, Saviour. Maybe it's a bit of a tongue-in-cheek kind of title, like Phos is meant to be the saviour and the hero, but really they're just breaking down and not able to accomplish anything for either side. Cinnabar actually attacked me, and without holding back. Oh no. I talked to Yuke, then Cairngorm hit me. The Lunarians see me as a Lustrous, and the Lustrous see me as Lunarian. Oh, I love that contrast between those two panels, the black and the white, and then also the switching between the Lunarians and the gems. What am I? Panic. You are Phosphophylite, the hope of the Lunarians. Oh god, when I didn't even get a look at Congo. Oh man, here we go again. Well, I bet they can't fix that thing that just causes their alloy to try and destroy themselves. I wonder if this is setting up Phos as the chaotic third force that just causes destruction for both sides, you know, both the Lunarians and the Lustrous. Pat, pat, pat. Eh? How do you feel? Oh, calm. This is psychological therapy. Wait, did I skip anything? I didn't. What are they doing? They're just tapping Phos with that. I don't know what that is. This is psychological therapy. It looks like it worked. Where did the aloe just stop acting up? And they're calm. I mean, I don't know if you could call that psychological therapy, but the fact that they even have a term for therapy is way ahead of what the gems ever had. Where are Padpa and yellow? Jolt. Noble Padpa was doused in a unique silver liquid that has seeped into the crevices of the gem's body. This mercury's venom may cause embrittlement. Beginning with the portions that have been exposed to it the longest, we are working as quickly as we can to find a way to clean the gem's interior. It sounds bad. Honourable Yellow suffered no physical damage, but has claimed to be tired and has sat motionless since, responding to no one. Yeah. Just because there's no physical damage doesn't mean that there hasn't been irreparable damage done to the psyche. The other gems are worried and have been taking shifts attending to illustrious yellow. I see. No one has been here to see you, Great Phos. Don't tell me that. I know already. That was okay. They're just trying to be helpful. But isn't anybody here? I'll just wait then. Damn, look at all these Vogue magazine outfits. Cairngorm's just going through one by one. Cairngorm? Princess. I'm coming. Oh god, they've even labelled themselves, well, or the others have labelled them princess. Of course, to play, you know, matching couple with the prince. I really don't like where Cairngorm has been going. Princess? They put you back together? Yeah. And that is this? That is a massive table separating the two. I was taught to take care of it. What is that? By who? Who else? Okay, I see there's going to be a recurring theme. Also, that's from Shiro, isn't it? The little puppies? Oh yeah, never mind. You said you weren't going to go back to Earth, but you came to help us. It wasn't the cleanest rescue ever, but it was very you. Thanks, Cairngorm. It wasn't a rescue, Phos. I always knew I could count on you the most. Ugh, look at that hope in Phos's eyes. That's a weird face from Cairngorm. They're like, oh, honey, I feel so sorry for you. You're wrong. I didn't collect you gems for your sake. Back then, there was a piece of ghost in my eye, controlling me. I had no choice but to help you, but ghost has been removed now. Sorry for making you think I was your best friend or something. Just forget all that. So, who was it for? Aechmea? Yes. Oh no, don't tell me you actually like that jerk. I do. Talk about bad taste. Shut up, you ugly composite stone. Oh my god. You want me to bust your head again? What was that ugly, Destructo? Oh, destructo. Okay, that's an insult, right? It's a weird one, but I think it's meant to be an insult. Don't go busting heads like it's no big deal. What is going on? I feel like we've got two divas just like, what'd you say? What'd you say to me? Oh my god, I hate this so much. Anyway, you wouldn't understand the princess charms. Well, duh. What is there to like? Texture. I do I have to read this? God, okay. My darling is soft and fluffy. It smells just like a summer's evening. Is smart, but also shy. And it's cute how they never stop talking when I'm the only one around. Cute. That snob? Ew. Shut up, ugly. You're ugly. What? Where are we? What manga are we reading? Okay, you can do this. Well, you just play nice with the other gems now. I don't think I can. Yeah, you're too unfeeling. What? That's not true and you know it. I mean, sure, we failed this time, but we couldn't help it. There were too many things we'd never done before, and besides, everything I do is to help us gems, to eventually make life easier for all of us. You know what happened to Yellow and Paparocha, and you're still saying that? You are so... I'm sure you think that you're the one making everything turn out great, but the fact is there's always someone taking pity on you and putting their own feelings aside to help you out. I'm going to tell you this because I owe you for bringing me to the moon, but you're mistreating the gems close to you, to help gems that aren't around, and you need to stop. Or before long, you'll lose everyone. Okay, so what they're saying, I think, is that Phos is so fixated on getting, like, restoring all of the ground up gems, especially Antark, that they're not really thinking about the consequences of what they're doing and trying to fix Sensei. So, like, kind of dragging Yellow along, and obviously we saw that they ignored all of Yellow's concerns about attacking Sensei. Padpa, I guess. Yeah, Padpa is all for Phos, but yeah. Cairngorm makes a good point that Phos really should think more about how their choices are impacting the gems around them. Also, lest we forget, they basically lied to all of the gems that did end up going to the moon. You know, they withheld so much from them. Even though, you know, some of them like Dia and Amethyst are enjoying themselves on the moon, but all the same, you know, there was a lot that they didn't know before making that decision. Okay, some solid advice from Cairngorm. And I guess they'd know because Phos especially mistreated Cairngorm the most. Sorry to keep you waiting. Oh, is he wearing a hoodie now? He looks like just some teenage dude who's just like checking in on his girlfriend. You're late. Squeeze. They squeezed so hard that he evaporated. Sorry to keep you waiting. You're late. It's so weird. It's such a... I just can't wrap my head around this relationship. They're like a bunch of lovesick teenagers. It's so weird. Okay, let's go. So, what is a date? Oh, that's why he's dressed like that. It's when you wander around outside and let the masses see how happy you are together. And that's a job. A very important one. Oh, then I'll do my best. So I guess they're the newly crowned royal couple that all of the Lunarians are watching their cable TV for the latest gossip, you know? What did you come here for? Oh, I forgot. Look at that smile Cairngorm is giving him, just looking up at him in absolute adoration. I have good news for you. Reconstructing your friends from the sand is going much faster than we'd planned. Okay? Really? The head technician wanted to run something by you. You'll need to go and ask about it yourself. So maybe we get to meet some new gems in that we haven't actually seen them before, because they were already taken to the moon when Volume 1 started, so I'm pretty excited about that. And another thing, you brought me my lovely wife. Thank you. I'm sorry, I need some time to process this through my brain. Okay. What's a wife? Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking that too. What to them, what is a wife? Because obviously they don't. I mean, Aechmea would be aware of human conventions. I don't know. Okay, Cairngorm doesn't know either. Yeah, the gems have know nothing about any of that. Does it mean ugly? Did you not just hear the word lovely? Ugly? You're ugly. Oh, I can't. Whenever these two have a conversation, I can't even call it that. Just a schoolyard bickering contest. I cannot handle it. Also, Cairngorm is his wife. Okay. Once again, I've learned the hard way how powerful the human curse can be. Even I can't resist it sometimes. I really have no idea what you're talking about, but I love that about you. Okay. I feel like this chapter has been the most painful to read through. Are we done here? Okay, can I just say why this is disturbing on another level? Is that Cairngorm has no idea what a wife is, doesn't care, because all they know is that they want to be near and around Aechmea. But Aechmea totally knows the meaning and the conventions behind human marriage and partnership and all that, what that entails. And he's just kind of putting it on Cairngorm and being like, well, I've got you now and I'm going to make you my wife. And Cairngorm's like, oh, I don't know what that means, but I'll go along with it because I love you so much and I like being around. It's just, oh, I don't know. It's kind of, oh man. Okay, I mean, I think it's just one of the things that I have to think about and process for longer than a few minutes, and then I don't know. Okay, let's keep going. Over here. Who's that? Ah, the technician. Are you the head technician? The name is Barbada. Nice to meet you, little lustrous lady. Oh, wait, that's wrong. Well, whatever. I guess is it because the Lunarians have some concept of like genders, and so he's like, oh, sorry, you don't really have a concept of that. My bad. Whereas clearly, because Aechmea is like, this is my wife, so they do have an understanding of these gender distinctions. Maybe even their concept of gender was just binary too. You know, I don't know. But that's interesting. Does little lady mean ugly? It means you're cute. Good. I feel like we've been transported into some kind of weird gem moon people romantic comedy. I don't know what's going on. I heard you had your psychological quirks, but this is not what I imagined. After an eternity of doing nothing, Aechmea called me up and told me to work on this project. This is a really satisfying job you created for me. Thanks. Uh-huh. There's hair on their chin. Moon stubble? I thought Aechmea was doing it. Our great prince is a genius, but being too good at everything has its drawbacks. With that and those good looks, the masses expect Aechmea to do the most annoying job of all, run the government. Jobs like this get handed out to losers with only one talent, like me. First, let me show you what we're doing. Okay, so Barbada, sorry, I just called him Chad, is the specialist at, I guess, head technician. I don't know, maybe he designs all the machines. Okay. This is Red Diamond. Oh, the original! Oh, wow. As expected, the diamonds go fastest. They have the biggest pieces and fewer elements in their chemical makeup. Plus, the different colors make it easy to tell the individuals apart. The viscous fluid you see there awakens the inclusions in each piece and pulls out the information on where that piece goes in the body. Wow. See, if you look closely, you'll notice the pieces that have fallen from the top are swimming around. They're finding their own way to where they belong. You can already make out part of the face. Wow, that is wow. Kind of like regenerating, and wow. You're a genius! Yay! Ha 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 ha. You're really doing it! Rebuilding them from sand. What is happening? There, you see? I don't need anybody. I'm doing the right thing all on my own. Don't you forget it, you Twitter. What? Twitter petted ugly? I can't read that. Twitter patch ugly? I don't know. Just talking about Cairngorm. That is such a strange and an oddly wrong response from Phos. Their ambition and the size of their head is just ballooning, and they are taking all the credit for this actually going well. At least this part of the plan is going well. And I guess they also need desperately to be able to justify the damage that they've caused Padpa and Yellow, and I guess all the lying they had to do to get the rest of the gems up onto the moon. Yeah. Before we go any further, click. There are 2 calls I need you to make, and it's Phos who's going to be making those calls. I don't know if they would be the one, depending on what those calls are. I don't know if Phos should be the one making those calls. The end of chapter 72. Let's keep going. Chapter 73, choice. First, I've got quite a few of those gem regeneration machines going on. We can rebuild their bodies, but not their memories. When inclusions are crushed into tiny pieces, then exposed to the outside air for a long time, they need to save energy to safeguard the most important information, their position in the body, so they throw out all other information and go into suspended animation. At this point in time, we have no prospect of ever restoring that information. So I don't really need you to make a call on that, just to know it. Got it. Thanks. That is a huge, blow. I mean, the fact that they're getting the original bodies back is something, but we are more than, well, the gems are more than their bodies. It's all of the memories that they've created with each other, with Sensei, with the world, that also is a huge part of their identity too. So without that, I mean, again, like applying the narrativism view, right? Like, could you really say that that person is the same person, you know? So the second thing is a little hard to talk about. It's about collecting pieces from the Admirabilis. The Admirabilis? I'm pretty sure you already know this, but the Admirabilis race, God, they eat sand. They make their shells by recrystallizing that sand inside their bodies. Phos is like, yes, I know that. I heard that you were once eaten and reconstructed back on Earth. Oh, yeah. It looks like there are some quirks in your memory distribution too. Well, whatever, but that's how it is. The problem is the Admirables have a very wide variety of shape and structure. With their short lifespans, each generation is constantly getting replaced. Change comes quickly and it's easy for new species to evolve. Plus, they have different ecologies on each of the 6 moons. Not even the experts know everything there is to know about them. There are fewer specimens like the one that ate you. Okay, it was a long time ago. It was like 6 generations, I think, Variegatus said. That can... hang on. There are fewer specimens like the one that ate you that can easily separate their shells from their soft bodies, while more and more of them have either fused with their shells or are recrystallizing the sand inside their bodies. Okay. Oh, sorry, I'll get to the point. What I'm saying is, well, really, to put it bluntly, if we're going to rebuild the gems completely, they're gonna have to kill the Admirables. We're going to have to kill all the Admirables. Oh wait, you don't really know the word kill, do you? It means, what, is it just put them to sleep? It means you'll take them apart and they'll be lost forever. Oh man. Oh my goodness. Ventricosis, look at that face. They had a good friendship, Phos and Ventricosis. All our attempts to animate synthetic gems failed. Personally, I'd like to gather as many grains of the originals as possible to get the highest level of purity. We can include pieces you've been storing on Earth. But with your delicate emotions, forcing gems to revive with no memories and big chunks of synthetic materials in their bodies, to be honest, I'm not sure how many of them would be able to survive independently. Right. So that's why it's more ideal if they slaughter all the Admirables. With your consent, we can go collect from the Admirabilis, but they're likely to resist, which will take up more time. But they listen to Phos, don't they? You would have to take measures to halt their reproduction and wait until they slowly die out before we retrieve the gems. Oh my god. But you have been acknowledged by their royalty. They love you. If you were to give them the order, we're could move forward immediately. I mean, Phos has already done many things that they can't come back from, but this is like war crime level genocide. Like, there is no respite from the incredible guilt that they are going to be weighed under. And they're immortal, so they're going to have to live with that for all of eternity. Okay, they're already reacting. Let me think about it. And I don't think they're gonna go to the other gems for help or advice, because they feel like it's all on them, you know? Yeah, of course. I guess I should say sorry? No, that's not right. Of course I'll do what I can to find another way, but don't get your hopes up. Based on past experience and my intuition, there's a strong possibility we'll run into the same problem again. Okay, so my understanding is that even if they get all of the pieces from the Admirabilis shells, and get the maximum purity level of the original gems, they will still have a hard time, because there's just no way that they restore their memories as well. So I guess this just makes that whole process of waking up to no memories and quite a bit of synthetic material in them more palatable. Like, the more of their original materials is in them, the easier that process is my understanding. Phos, Queen of the Unravelers. It's like, go forth and die for me. God. If I told you I wanted your shell, would you give it to me? They're all nodding. Oh, that was easy. The king demands it. Pull. Snap. Oh god, it's attached to them. Oh, it's ripping. You know, it's just interesting thinking about, it's already so bad in manga form. I cannot imagine it in anime style, where you have the sound effects of the ripping, the squeals of pain. So awful. Just kidding. You fell for it. Oh, man. Is that Phos crawling on the ground? I'm completely and totally stuck. But my head won't stop thinking. Shooting star. It's a comet or an asteroid. Oh, Phos. It's Benito. Phos just casually doing the, human, not human centipede, but yeah, you know what I mean, thing. Are you okay? Do you have to ask, Benito? Yeah. Sorry. I'm really really sorry about Yellow and Paparacha. I don't want to hurt any of you anymore. So next time I... Ew, why must we suffer through this grotesque bearing out of this very public, very weird relationship between Aechmea and Cairngorm? Listen to me. Oh my goodness. It's celebrity culture. Everyone's just taken by it. Oh, those normies. Listen to me. I'm listening. I'm listening. You are not. That ugly. I'm gonna go bust some heads. But Cairngorm is so cute now. I'm cuter. You really are such a... Yeah, so Phos has this issue with not being the center of attention and not being the best or the cutest. That, I feel, is original Phos right there. That's probably like one of the very few things that we have left. The vanity. Oh my, I had no idea that was Cairngorm's type. It's so unexpected. Oh my, look at them. They're all lovey-dovey. I'm impressed. Okay, so Daya's character introduction at the start really was pointing towards an Aechmea Cairngorm ship. Okay. Daya! Squee! My. So that's how... Looks like Cairngorm is having a ton of fun. Just... What are they doing? Like jet skiing or something? So that's the real Cairngorm. I feel bad for never noticing before. Do you think I'd ever get to see the prince's face? Look, so alive. Where are they? Are they at like some kind of Disneyland or something? Is Aechmea unconscious? No, it's a love tactic to get Cairngorm's attention. Huh? Hey, listen to me. This is important. Oh. Goshen. Oh, Goshen is there too. This is, yeah, it's definitely some kind of weird amusement park. Phos. Oh, Alex. I guess because Alex can't see any of this. They can hear it all, I guess, but maybe that's not so appealing as visually seeing your celebrities on TV. Phos, take me with you next time. I talked to Paparacha's doctor. Isn't that Aechmea? If I get the right operation, I can stay red permanently. Oh. Wait, don't they want to get rid of becoming Red Alex? What is going on? What? End of chapter 73. Chapter 74, Ceremony. Okay, that's finally got the other gem's attention. What do you mean? Phos is like, what have I done? What have my fellow gems turned into on the moon? The doctor says I turn red because of the light that shines from the Lunarians' bodies. Yep. That light goes through my eye sockets, reflects inside me, and if it gets deep inside my chest, I turn red. It doesn't always get there because it depends on the angle. It really is like a game of roulette. Remember that land of the the end of the comic strip, and then Alex has like that spinning wheel and is like, here, this is how I decide if I'm gonna be red or not. It's a bit sad. Okay, so all they have to do is put something inside my chest that emits that same light as the Lunarians. If I stay red, I can fight Sensei and the other gems without having a mental breakdown like yellow. But why are you assuming that you have to fight Sensei? It's because Phos is assuming that. Of course, I don't know if I can fight as well as Padpa, but you can change me back when we get Chrysoberyl back. Is that Benito saying no? No! You can't. Thank God someone still has some common sense. It's too dangerous for you to stay red. You've never done it before. There's no telling what could happen. Yeah, you can fight, but you'll attack both sides. So you'll have to restrain me. What? This already smells like a really, really bad idea. Benito? Restrain Lex? Huh? Huh? Uh-huh. You've done a good job of it so far. I know you can handle it. No, I don't want to. That's okay. You will if you have to. No, I won't. No, I won't. I won't. Here, Benito came to the moon to get away from that weirdo Nepti, only to be forced to take care of the weirdest weirdo of all, Red Lex. Not that I'd offer to trade, but I don't want to offer to trade. Poor thing. Offer? No. I can't let you stay red, Lex. Thank you, Phos. Like, just please speak some sense into this gem. Phew. I bet it's gonna happen anyway. They're just gonna go to the doctor and be like, make it happen. Next time, I'll go to Earth alone. I'll meet with Sensei and ask what's wrong with praying for the Lunarians. No, that's not what I want to do. I'll ask Sensei to pray for the Lunarians. No, Phos. It's good to talk first. Like genuinely ask, why can't you do it? Maybe I can help, fix the problem and we can work together. Not, I'll ask Sensei as in I'll force him to. Okay. Just stop being such a tough ass and not using your head and your other skills like diplomacy and negotiation skills. But last time, didn't Bort and Cinnabus stop you before you could even see Sensei? 3-point twitch. Wouldn't that just happen again? I'll go unarmed. What? I think the reason I didn't see Sensei is that the old softie couldn't attack us. We're still too precious to our former teacher. Euclea seems reasonable and might help me meet Sensei. If I can get that to work, I can probably talk to Sensei. I want to bet on that. I mean, at this point... Okay, what? So they're gonna go in, pretend like, hands up, I'm unarmed, just let me walk in. I can't think of anything else. They are so at the end of their tether, Phoses. So if you would inform Aechmea right away. I love that they just constructed this whole Disneyland for them, just for this one day. I mean, of course, all of the Lunarians got their, fix of celebrity culture and all that. Did you have fun? Yes. I need a drink of water. I can't do this. I'm all for like romance and even in a story like this, but just the way it's developed and how it's developing and their respective power imbalance is just, yeah. I love being able to do what I want. Are you, Cairngorm? Are you really? And I love getting to wear these cute sheet clothes all the time. Of course, Ghost would have said that doesn't look like something Antark would wear. And made a stink face at me. What? What does Antark have to do with that? I was surprised to see you choose those undergarments. I thought an asexual gemstone would avoid wearing anything sensual. Did I just... Are they like... I'm not even gonna think about that. The one on the left. Sorry, it's what we have on hand. This one? Okay, I'll make your clothes along these ones too. For 102 years, I thought about jumping into the ice flows so many times. I thought about... Oh, hang on, sorry. But I'm glad I resisted. Oh, is that for you? Is that a little messaging drone? Yes, excuse me. Hello? Oh, interesting. The glasses come out. It's business. Alright. All departments may begin the first phase of preparations. I'll adjust the schedule accordingly. Everything is progressing smoothly. Does he have something massive planned for Cairngorm? It's just like... It just feels like he's shepherding them to some kind of trap. They need Cairngorm to activate some kind of grand plan that they have. Just the way that Cairngorm is framed in that last panel down there. And as usual, it's all thanks to you. And as usual, you're not making any sense. Aechmea, what is it, my dear? Seriously, how can you be so soft and fluffy? It's still so scary. I don't ever want to see another love heart in a conversation between those two ever again. So hey, I've been thinking for a while now, when your plan succeeds and the Lunarians turn into nothing, will we be stuck on the moon? Great question. 84, was it 84? Yes. Your face says you hadn't thought of that. I think you're slowly reverting back to idiot Phos. Mate, were you always so sharp-tongued? They got a point, Phos, though. Like, I mean, that's what I've been feeling over the last volume or two, is that the sharpness of Lapis's intellect and observation skills has slowly just been deteriorating until it doesn't feel like they're there anymore, that they're not influencing Phos's decisions as much anymore. I don't know if it's because it's just me now or because I'm away from Sensei, but lately I've been thinking I need to get my act together. Especially since we can't rely on Padpa and Yellow. Everyone's so focused on what's right in front of them right now, I'm worried. Shall we teach you how to pilot our ships? Yes, but... Yeah, if they're all nothing, there's nothing. They can't form it from anything. Wouldn't the ship turn into nothing too? image was Interstellar. The city's functions work on an auto generation system that is regulated by the temperature of the moon's surface, so I don't believe there will be a problem, but I will check. Okay, that's a possible out. As for Phos's earlier proposal, the prince has granted permission. However, the prince has also requested that you want to enact it until after the ceremony. Ceremony? No, please don't be a wedding. An event that will be held in a few days, the first of its kind on the moon. It will include rituals that we adapted from ancient customs. Its purpose is to show our people the unprecedented bond of cooperation and friendship currently shared between the Lunarians and the Lustrous. It's an arranged marriage. I mean, it's not an arranged marriage, but it was definitely planned by Aechmea from the start. Ew, which makes all of this courting and all of this so wrong. We would love to have all of you gems in attendance. Furthermore, at the ritual, the Lustrous will be represented by... Oh, Phos thinks it's the venerable Cairngorm. And Prince Aechmea will represent the Lunarians. That ugly, those jerks. The two of them are especially intimate. They will join together as one, showing the general public that society has entered a new stage. Oh, really? They'll be all lovey-dovey. It's a lovey-dovey event. Perfect for Daya. Sounds fun. They're a real power couple. I don't need to see them to know that. They're too powerful. Don't you think the ceremony would be more peaceful if we used Phos and Cicada? Phos and Cicada. I mean, okay, so obviously the gems don't know anything about what marriage is, and so they're just like, well, you know, it's just literally a representative, you know, symbolizing the coming together of two peoples. Okay. But Aechmea does have a nice face. They only just met, but somehow they just seem right together. You could get this excited over my big solo mission, you know. Phos. Incidentally, this ceremony is called a wedding. Yeah, I knew it was coming. I just didn't want it to be. Oh, we're gonna get a wedding in the next chapter. End of chapter 74. Look at that. Moon wedding is great. I mean, also, I mean, normal human weddings take ages and months, sometimes full years to plan, and they've just snapped this one together in a matter of, I don't know, maybe it's been weeks. Okay, here we go. Let's do this. Chapter 75, Wish. Those platform shoes, just trying to eat away at that height difference. And you know what's so disturbing is that Cairngorm still probably has no idea what this means, really. Like, okay, I mean, it is possible that Aechmea is just going for symbolism here, but I don't know. Why are you leering like that? Clong. What? Alex, okay, thank God there's one of them that didn't have to see that. They put their mouths together. Whoa, scary. Why? They'll break their faces. Everyone, calm down. Aechmea is a Lunarian. It's so funny that that's what they were scared of. Like, it's, you know, obviously their whole lives, physical touch has just been such a a minefield, because you got to make sure that you're touching the right kind of gem with the right kind of hardness, otherwise you shatter. So yeah, okay. Oh yeah, phew, that freaked me out. Shut up. I almost sympathy shattered. Sympathy shattered. Oh, it's like when you see someone else in pain and you kind of feel the pain yourself. That is amazing. Poof. Dwa. It's all the confetti. Huh? What? Oh, Phos. Lustrous. Oh, man. Oh, okay. This is the cover. This is the party scene. Congratulations. Are you going to dance? We're supposed to dance? I would love to see the gems try and dance, so. Honorable Phos. Why don't you go try some of Barbada's cooking? Cooking? This is cooking? That's right. Barbada even made food that you gems will be able to eat. Why would Barbada actually prefers the kitchen over the lab, and we can cook at least as good as a pro. Oh, and can cook at least as good as a pro. I mean, cooking is technically just chemistry, right? Applied in a certain way. Wow. Pop. These are light flavored macarons. Oh man. That is that macaron. This is just blowing my mind. I dislike that there's a wedding going on between Aechmea and Cairngorm, but I can appreciate all of the festivities and the creativity with which, they're including the gems in. Whoa, what was that light? That was good. I'm remembering now all of those times where the gems are like, oh, the light tastes particularly good today. Like, they do sort of feed on light. Give me 100 more. What's all this? Nom nom nom. Yep. Yummy. That was amazing. Ceremonies sure are fun. There's a concert starting over there. Let's go. It's pretty great, isn't it? Is that quieter? No, I don't know. It's all thanks to you, Phosphophilite. Plus, I get to eat Barbada's pasta. To be honest, when you brought your friends, I really didn't expect much. I figured nothing would change. Nothing ever does. But it looks like you convinced our boss that we're making progress. Look at those gems just dancing away the night with Lunarians. I haven't felt this hopeful in a long time. I'm sure we're getting closer to nothingness. That is one hell of a massive party. Here comes the hangover. Oh, wow. Oh, God. Okay, so that's a wedding gown. That is a nice holiday house. I mean, honeymoon, I guess. Your wish was for freedom, yes? Huh? Everything is in place to get you away from this war. I built you an estate on the farthest, smallest moon. It isn't finished yet, but we've gotten it to a point where it should promise some relief from anything that could affect you. I know things like marriage and being a wife are in no way a part of your nature, and I'm sorry to make you play along to help me keep up appearances. To make decisions among our kind, we need both a crude reason that the people can understand emotionally, and a novel form of diversion. Okay, so it was all symbolism, obviously, but so their whole playing celebrity couple thing was to, I guess, stir up the Lunarians, to make them look forward to something, to give them hope that things are changing, that they're actually on their way to becoming nothing. A diversion, I guess, from the mundanity of eternity. Your new estate will be a temporary home until the day you gain true freedom. I guess the day the Lunarians become nothing. It is the safest form of freedom I can provide in this world. What? Appearances get me away? What do you mean? You are truly special. You are the only thing in the world that is truly dear to me. I've felt this way since before you came to the moon. Huh? Since before you came to the moon. So they knew them before? What? It's like a wedding present. This is your left arm. It's not a replica, it's the arm we took 102 years ago. Don't worry, I've removed the outer layer of quartz. I'll put it back on for you. So when he said that he loved them or felt that way about them since before the moon, was it because of the arm? Like he thought it was really beautiful? The color of their sky, so to speak? Ugh. Okay. Oh my god. What are they doing? Hmm? Oh no. No, that's not repairable with your hardness of, what was it? Not very high, right? I forget how hard is Cairngorm, I don't remember. Anyway, they clearly don't want that arm back. My wish is different now. I'm going with you into nothingness. So even though Aechmea was like, this is just all for show, I just needed to give the people something to be happy about, he does seem to genuinely have feelings for Cairngorm because of this arm, apparently. And because at first I was like, okay, maybe he's just like, well, this is all for show, I don't actually like you that much, but it seems he does. And clearly Cairngorm likes him right back. I'll find my own way to make it work. It'll take way too long if I let you do it. But I don't want to hear it. I'm not listening to you anymore. Well, they finally found their free will. Keeping my arm like it's some kind of treasure? That's stupid. What do you mean since before I came to the moon? Then why didn't you bring me here sooner? Ugh. Okay. What is that? Oh. Oh no. Oh, okay. It's fine. And that just surprised me. That's all. It's very natural. Is it such a big secret that you can only talk about it inside my mouth? I didn't get it. Try it one more time. What is happening? What is... Okay, so he's telling Cairngorm a secret inside their mouth. Okay. Okay. End of chapter 75. And that is where we're gonna end today. Alright, just give me a moment. Hey guys, just a quick few thoughts to sum up. To be honest, I think I need a bit more time to really process what we learned in the last few chapters. Let's start with what's going on Earth. So from what I can see, it's working out pretty well, this new arrangement where the gems and Sensei work together as equals. Sensei is able to put the gems back together, which solves that whole Rutile being out of action problem. And also, everyone is being very supportive of each other. My favorite part is that even Cinnabar is finally being included in their little society. Now, having learnt that everything that happened in the fight, presumably including the part where Rutile attacks out of nowhere, was part of Yuke's plan, do I agree with it? Not really. Like, I still feel like attacking first and then speaking later was a big mistake, that it only escalated things right from the get-go. And if, as Yuke said, they wanted to reason with Phos, why didn't they start with that? And maybe I've just missed something and they had a good reason to believe that they needed to subdue Phos, Yellow, and Padpa first. But when I think back, I was like, clearly Yellow didn't want to fight. You know, they made that very clear. Padpa was just responding to Rutile's attacks. And so it's such a shame because they'll never know now if they could have just spoken to them without all of that damage being done. Same with Phos. Like, now Phos is all, well, I guess the better plan was to just go in unarmed and just request diplomatically and nicely to just have a chat with Sensei. That's the plan now. And in my head, I don't really fully get why that wasn't the go-to plan in the first place. And so it just seems like on all sides, the first real encounter between the two was just this giant mother cluster of a mistake because everyone chose violence first and saw it as a necessity and then expected to be able to talk afterwards. And it just, yeah, it's not really making too much sense to me at this point. As for what's going on with the other gems on the moon, I think Lex's proposal to have Padpa's doctor turn them into red permanently is a real bad idea. And I do appreciate that, you know, Benito and even Phos was like, no, that's a bad idea. So there's that. I like that Amethyst is coming more into their own now and is really thinking about what's coming next and pointing out Phos's tendency to not really think ahead enough. And interestingly, they also made the point that I've been feeling recently, which is that Phos has been none too smart. So where has this Lapis influence disappeared to? I don't really know. Maybe it's because of all of the emotional trauma, again, that they've been suffering through. And this latest one, like this latest emotional blow, seeing Cinnabar go out in full force against them with her Mercury, maybe that's just buried all of Lapis's common sense and now it's the emotional Phos that's in the driver's seat. The last thing which caused me a bit of pain in the last few chapters was this huge acceleration in the relationship between Cairngorm and Aechmea. If you've watched my other reactions, you'll know that I'm pretty open to different ships, but this one, man, was just tough to wrap my head around. And I already spoke about the reasons, you know, as I was reading through the volume. Like, it's largely because of the power dynamics involved and just the cluelessness of Cairngorm as to the significance of, say, being a wife and being married and how they're being used by Aechmea to present a fictional fantasy to his people. So, yeah, I mean, I'd love to get any views from you guys about that particular development, and I'm really keen to see if people think differently about this. In any case, it seems like we're definitely going to be getting more of this Aechmea Cairngorm lovey-dovey moments, because right at the end, we're teased with this secret that apparently can only be told inside one's mouth. So that concludes this reaction. Thank you so much for joining me on this perpetually insane story. And I look forward to chatting with you all about these latest chapters down in the comments and on Discord. And I am a bit scared to continue on next time when we finish off this volume. I just never know what to expect, which is, I guess, why Land of the Lustrous is so good. So until then, until the next reaction, I will, chat with you guys on all the other channels, and I hope you have a good rest of the day.